All right, everyone, welcome. Today we're diving into something really cool, Celestia. Now, this project is built on a pretty wild idea. What if the only way for blockchains to get really big, to truly scale, is to first, well, break them apart? Let's get into how they're trying to completely change the game for Web3.
So just think about this for a second. What if a blockchain didn't have to do everything itself? I mean, what if it could scale almost infinitely just by, outsourcing its toughest jobs? This single question, this powerful idea, is literally the foundation Celestia is built on.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll tackle the big problem, the bottleneck that's holding back pretty much every blockchain out there. Then we'll see how Celestia's modular solution plans to just shatter that problem. We'll get into the TI token, the fuel for the whole thing, see how it compares to the competition, and finally, we'll look at what's next for Celestia.
All right, first things first, we gotta understand the core problem that Celestia was even created to solve. It's this massive challenge that, honestly, every big blockchain eventually slams into, the scalability bottleneck.
So most of the blockchains you probably know and use, like Ethereum, they're what we call monolithic. A good way to think about it is like they're one single, completely overworked employee. This poor employee has to do everything. Run transactions, agree on the order, and save all the data. And yeah, it's super secure, but it's also a recipe for a massive traffic jam. It just creates these huge limits on how fast and how big things can get.
So on the one hand, you've got this monolithic chain, just trying to juggle all these different jobs at once. It's a lot. But the modular approach, the one Celestia is pioneering, basically just says, hey, why don't we break this up? Let's create these specialized layers, each with just one job to do. That way, each layer can get insanely efficient at its one thing.
And that, right there, brings us to Celestia's really elegant solution to this whole monolithic mess.
Okay, so Celestia is a layer 1, which means it's that base foundational layer of a network. But it's a really weird one. It is a laser focused on only two things: ordering transactions, that's what we call consensus, and making sure all that transaction data is available for anyone to see, which is data availability. But here's the kicker. The really important part is what it doesn't do. It doesn't execute a single smart contract. Nope, it just hands that job off to someone else entirely.
So what you get is this really clean two-step system. Step 1, Celestia is the secure foundation for everything, the bedrock. Then, in step 2, you have other specialized chains, we call them rollups, that just build right on top. And the beauty is, these rollups are now totally free to focus only on what they do best, whether that's running a game or a DeFi app, because they know Celestia is handling all that heavy lifting of security for them.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. We're already seeing it work in the real world. There was this one project that, just by moving its data needs over to Celestia, managed to cut its transaction fees, the gas costs for users, by a whopping 70%. I mean, think about that. If you're a developer trying to build an app that millions of people can actually afford to use, that is an absolute game changer.
So you might be wondering, what actually powers all of this? Well, that's where the TIA token comes in. And let me tell you, it's way more than just a speculative coin. TIA is the economic lifeblood of the entire Celestia network. TIA basically has 4 super important jobs. First, you've got staking, which helps secure the whole network. Then, developers use it to pay data fees. That's the cost to get their data published on Celestia. It also works as a governance token, so holders get to vote on where the network goes next. And finally, it's used for incentives, rewarding everyone who helps keep the system running smoothly.
And just to give you a sense of scale here, let's look at some of the numbers. With a market cap getting close to $1 billion, TIA has already cemented itself as a really significant player, a key piece of this new modular infrastructure in crypto.
Okay, but let's be real. The blockchain space is crowded. So where does Celestia actually fit in all of this? How does it stack up against all the other big projects trying to solve this exact same scalability puzzle?
Well, first off, let's talk about real-world use, because this isn't some science project. Right now, there are over 50 active rollups already building on and using Celestia. That's not just hype. That's real, tangible proof that developers are actually buying into this whole modular idea.
And when you actually put it side by side with other solutions, Celestia's unique spot really shines through. Ethereum is trying to be the jack of all trades, rollups are designed to scale one specific chain, Polygon gives you the tools to build your own chain, but Celestia is different. It's hyper-specialized. It's not trying to be everything to everyone. It has one goal: to be the absolute best universal data layer for any other chain that needs it.
All right, so let's shift gears and look ahead. What does the future hold for Celestia? Well, it's a road that's paved with incredible potential, but also some pretty serious challenges.
Look, nothing is guaranteed in this space, right? Celestia's success is completely dependent on getting other projects, those rollups, to actually build on it. It's up against some seriously tough competition, and honestly, the tech has a bit of a learning curve for new developers. And of course, like any crypto asset, the TIA token is going to be volatile.
So what's the super optimistic view? The bull case? It's that Celestia becomes the standard, the go-to data layer for the entire Web3 world. If that happens, it could unleash this Cambrian explosion of new, specialized blockchains for everything from gaming to social media to finance, things that were just way too expensive to even think about building before.
Okay, what about a more middle-of-the-road outcome? Well, in that scenario, Celestia carves out a really successful niche for itself. It becomes the perfect tool for specific projects that need a ton of data space, but maybe it doesn't completely take over the high-value markets that are already locked into big ecosystems like Ethereum.
And then there's the bear case. What if Ethereum's own scaling solutions just get good enough? If that happens, a dedicated data layer like Celestia might seem unnecessary to its biggest potential customers. And in that world, it would really struggle to find a foothold, which would definitely impact the network's value.
And of course, just a quick reminder for everyone, this is all for informational purposes. It's definitely not financial advice.
So let's end on this thought. This core idea of modularity, breaking up jobs so each one can be done better. It's a really powerful concept. But here's the big question. Is splitting everything up the real key to unlocking a Web3 that can scale forever? Or are we just adding another layer of complexity that becomes impossible to manage? Honestly, that's the billion-dollar question that Celestia is out there trying to answer for all of us.